You're listening to Four Things to Know, a WCCO daily news podcast.
Today is Wednesday, July 15th. I'm Maria Lizignoli. Thanks for joining us here on Four Things to Know. Our top story today, in addition to the extreme heat, we're also under an air quality alert because of the wildfire smoke coming down from up north. The Minnesota Pollution Control Agency issued the air quality alert and says much of the state will experience unhealthy or very unhealthy levels of air quality at times today. Right now, more than a dozen fires are burning up north, close to 20, according to the U.S. Forest Service, all near and around St. Louis and Lake counties and within the Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness. Connor White reports from the State Emergency Operations Center after getting an update from Governor Tim Walz and DNR Commissioner Sarah Stroman.
According to the experts, not only is the time of year unusual for these kinds of wildfires, the cause is too. They're blaming lightning storms from earlier this month, sparking these fires that caused evacuations and now rescue missions going from overnight into today on Wednesday. Governor Tim Walz says the Canadian Air Force needed to rescue a group of teens camping with the YMCA about 175 miles north of the border. Those teenagers are from all over Minnesota and ended up stuck as wildfires spread in the northern part of the state and in Canada. He says right now one group of campers is safe, the others will be evacuated in the coming hours. This as the DNR commissioner says that the severity and timing of these fires is a new challenge.
Over the last 5 or 6 years, we've begun to have more fires throughout more months of the year. To have this amount of work this much of the year, it gets to be stressful, and it's hard to ensure we have enough resources trained up to the levels that we need them to handle leadership positions in fire suppression.
That work and that stress prompting Governor Walz and other state leadership to approve an extension of his emergency order that provides additional resources to first responders for another 30 days. And state officials expect these fires, some of them in the remote areas, to burn far longer. They're expecting snow to become a factor in extinguishing some of them later this year.
Number 2, President Donald Trump is endorsing Republican candidate Mike Lindell for Minnesota governor. The president wrote on Truth Social this morning, calling Lindell the Pillow Man and saying, in part, quote, he is one of America's greatest and most hardworking patriots. He went on to say, quote, Mike Lindell has my complete and total endorsement, and good luck, Mike. Here is what Lindell told our Esme Murphy this morning.
Did you know it was coming this morning?
No, I did not. It's very exciting.
You had no idea it was coming at 6
No. No.
This was your immediate reaction.
I actually got a text from somebody, and it was early, from my network, Lindell TV, and they go, and he says, congratulations. And I look, and I'm just, it was so exciting. I called my wife quick, and I said, he just endorsed us, and it was very, very exciting.
Several Republicans are vying for the Republican nomination. The frontrunners are Lindell, Minnesota House Speaker Lisa Damuth, and businessman Kendall Qualls. U.S. Senator Amy Klobuchar is the leading candidate for governor on the DFL side. In a statement today, Klobuchar said, quote, Mike Lindell is Donald Trump's choice. I hope to be Minnesota's. The primary is August 11th. Look for more of Esme's interview with Mike Lindell today on the news at 4. Number 3, the investigation into the arrest of a Minnesota man mistakenly detained by federal immigration agents is escalating. Ramsey County officials are now suing the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, accusing the agency of refusing to cooperate with their criminal investigation. Ramsey County Attorney John Choi and Sheriff Bob Fletcher will announce the civil lawsuit this afternoon. The case centers on the January arrest of Chongly Scott Thao, a 56-year-old U.S. citizen. Video showed federal agents forcing their way into his St. Paul home without a warrant, then leading him outside in the freezing temperatures wearing only his underwear and a blanket before detaining him. Agents later realized Thao was an American citizen and returned him home. County officials have been conducting a criminal investigation into whether federal agents committed crimes, including kidnapping and false imprisonment. They say Homeland Security has refused to turn over records, body camera video, and other evidence, prompting this lawsuit to compel the agency's cooperation. Number 4. Farmington police need the public's help in finding the driver who hit and killed a bicyclist and didn't stop. A 13-year-old Apple Valley boy died. This happened around 9:45 last night at the intersection of Highway 50 and Duchesne Parkway, right in front of the McDonald's there. Police say the hit-and-run vehicle is believed to be a small black SUV with front end or passenger side damage. It's also missing its passenger side mirror. Contact Farmington Police if you witnessed this crash or have any information about the suspect's vehicle. Those are the 4 things to know today. Now let's check in on our forecast.
Hi, I'm next weather meteorologist Lisa Meadows. Here's your forecast tonight. We're down to 74 for your overnight low, still underneath a next weather alert and extreme heat warning through Thursday. High temp tomorrow looking to top out in the low 90s.
And now, here's more to know.
Today, nearly 60 nurses with the Minnesota Nurses Association say they will begin an unfair labor practice strike. This comes after more than a year of negotiations for a first contract at Hazelden Betty Ford Foundation in Center City. In response, Hazelden Betty Ford says they are committed to good faith negotiations with the nurses. Additional bargaining sessions are scheduled for next week. A months-long delay for a Faribault data center is now official. The City Council extended the deadline for an expanded environmental review until next March. That's after an appeals court ruled the company didn't provide adequate answers about things like water usage, noise, and pollution. But city leaders are still left with the same problem as many other Minnesota communities. Here's Faribault City Council member Royal Ross.
So whatever standards we create today, I have a feeling they may be outdated in 6 to 12 months because the technology changes so quickly.
They're now trying to establish performance standards for any future data centers. Minnesota lawmakers considered setting statewide requirements last session, but the bill didn't advance. President Trump says ICE should continue traffic stops after recent fatal shootings, seeming to contradict new policy to halt them. On Truth Social overnight, Trump wrote ICE is, quote, doing a great job, one that has to be done. He went on to say, quote, we must be strong, tough, and smart, and we cannot give up one of ICE's most important and effective crime-fighting tools, the traffic stop. This comes at odds with direction from Border Czar Tom Homan. Homan says the halt in vehicle stops is not a policy change. He calls it a necessary short-term pause. Homan also says that ICE has a timeline to distribute body cameras to agents, but he declined to share the timing of those plans. Recently, a man was killed by ICE agents in Texas and another in Maine. Both had been in their vehicles and were not the intended targets of the ICE operations. Just yesterday, a man was running from ICE agents in Florida when he was struck and killed by a truck. Well, it's a never-ending debate. Standard time or daylight saving time. Yesterday, the U.S. House of Representatives voted 308 to 117 to pass the Sunshine Protection Act, a bill that would make daylight saving time permanent. Supporters of the legislation say it would give Americans more daylight hours in the evening, which could have positive impacts on sleep schedules, people's health, and the economy. Critics of the bill say extended darkness in the morning hours of winter would have negative effects on health and safety. The statute has an opt-out feature for states that do not want to participate, like Hawaii and most of Arizona, which observe year-round standard time. It now heads to the Senate for consideration. Here's Texas Republican Representative Pete Sessions and Democratic Pennsylvania Representative Madeline Dean.
The American people are asking Congress, please standardize this and give us more light and opportunity.
Early morning light is an important environmental cue to set our body's internal clocks and promote alertness. And dim evening light tells our bodies that it is time to sleep. Permanent standard time is a healthier choice.
The U.S. Congress passed a law back during the energy crisis of the early 1970s to keep daylight saving time permanent for 1 year. But it became unpopular as many Americans soured on the dark morning hours. The law was later repealed. It's unclear what the Senate will do this time. A state law passed back in 2021 means that if Congress makes the change, Minnesota automatically will too. Now to some sports headlines. In World Cup action, Spain defeated France 2-0 in Tuesday's semifinal match, in what many in the sports world are calling an upset. The French team had been favored by multiple fan and sports sites to win the entire tournament. Spain's opponent in Sunday's World Cup championship match will be determined today when England faces off against Argentina. That's at 2 p.m. our time. And a Minnesota legend is stepping back out onto the mat.
I know what I'm capable of.
That was Suni Lee making an announcement on social media about another run at the Olympics. The gymnastics star announced her comeback Tuesday, about 2 years out from the Los Angeles Games. The 23-year-old says she is back in the gym and ready to return to work to what will be her third Olympic Games. She's looking to add to her 6 Olympic medals, including 2 gold.
It's time to take a breath with your Daily Bright Spot.
Maybe your family is looking for a way to cool down today. Here's a fun way to do it. That was the sound of the St. Paul Fire Department using their fire truck to create a big sprinkler for kids yesterday. They're partnering with the city's Parks Department to do this several times throughout the week. Today, they'll be bringing some much-needed relief to the Oxford Community Center, the North End Community Center, and Central Village Park. Tomorrow, they'll be at the McDonough Recreation Center, the Duluth and Case Recreation Center, and Wida Park. And in this heat, I am sure a lot of people would be loving that giant sprinkler. Thanks for joining us here on 4 Things to Know. I'm Maria Lizignoli, and I'm here with the news you need every weekday afternoon by 3 o'clock.
Listen to 4 Things to Know, a WCCO daily news podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.